Fruit isn't necessarily considered an Asian food, but I think it's extremely important in Asian culture. There is symbolism behind it that has deep ties to Asian traditions and practices and rituals. We give fruit as temple offerings, certain fruits as gifts for special occasions like weddings or baby showers, fruit to honor the dead, our ancestors, and even in the simple act of eating fruit as an activity of togetherness after a shared meal. I once told my mom I was envious of how well she cut her fruit, and she told me a story. She said how for a whole summer in Korea when she was 14, her mom made her practice skinning an apple perfectly. This meant it had to be skinned in one continuous swirl and as close of a skin as possible, not taking any chunks of the apple with it. She said how her mom told her if she didn't know how to do this, how to cut fruit properly, she wouldn't find a husband in the future. She had to know how to correctly and impressively cut fruit for her future in-laws. This story shocked me, as most stories of superstitions or outdated expectations in Korean culture often do. Why would cutting fruit in a great way be something you had to learn for your potential future in-laws? Is it that important? I had my mom try and teach me.
You have to score it on top, just a little bit, not too much. Right? And then that starts the peeling process. And you hold the knife, but you turn the apple. And then the blade goes just right under.
I found the task extremely difficult, and I quickly became frustrated with how bad I was at skinning this apple. Even after skinning it, I couldn't cut it well. I thought about why I was so bad at this, why I hadn't really cut my own food at all up until this point in my life. I realized that, like most Asian parents, my mom showed her love through actions. Cutting fruit nicely for me and my family were her ways of showing appreciation, which is why I found myself rarely cutting fruit on my own, since it always seemed to magically appear on a plate after dinner, or while I was doing schoolwork, as snacks in my school lunches, and even perfectly peeled tangerines with all the dreaded white parts peeled away. I also realized that I was lucky to have a mom who wasn't super traditional in the Korean parent sense. She never scolded me on schoolwork or grades, and she wasn't one to tell me ridiculous things like, you won't get a husband if you can't skin an apple perfectly. Although it is these traditions with fruit I find humorous and outdated, the act of tirelessly cutting fruit for your loved ones and sharing them together after meals are something I will always cherish and be thankful for. Coming to my mom and asking her to teach me how to skin the apples opened up a conversation between us that I wasn't expecting to have. She talked about the expectations put on her and her sisters by her mom when they were growing up, how her cooking skills were not by luck but by constant forced practice by her mom to prepare her for a husband and motherhood. I told her I was lucky she didn't put those same pressures on me. Even though her memories of skinning apples are associated with seemingly unattainable goals, she told me she created new reasons to cut her fruit perfectly, and that in doing so, found joy in the act.